Entrepreneurs, business owners, and even my ministry leaders, I got a question for you. Do you find yourself running out of time and you just can't get enough things done? Well, I understand, and trust me, I know there's only 24 hours in a day, but why is it that some people seem to be getting more out of their time than others? Well, today I'm going to talk to you about how to get results, time blocking. Number two. Again, we're talking about what it looks like to get some ridiculous results by time blocking. Again, as an entrepreneur, we've only been doing this for the last 5 years, guys. And I have been able to, along with my wife and our team, we've been able to build a profitable business well into 6 figures, and we're on pace to really keep going quarter after quarter after quarter. Why? Because we have been able to do something that is, I think, really, really unique. And number two is we've learned how to time block our one thing. If I go back to the graph, one of the things I want to show you is that most people, when they even discover their one thing, it's a little slice of their whole day. It's a little slice of maybe their whole month. It's a small slice of their year, right? You find yourself doing the bigger stuff, everything else. And so therefore, everything else dominates your day. Anybody ever hear people say that, it seems like I'm putting out fires all day long? That is because your one thing doesn't dominate your day, or at least it doesn't have the time that it deserves. That's what that pie should look like. That pie right there says, listen, half of my day, half of my week, half of my month, half of my year. Y'all see where I'm going with this? It's devoted to the one thing. When you focus on your one thing, the one thing such by doing that, it makes everything easier or unnecessary. It changes the game. When I talk about time blocking your one thing, what I'm really talking about, guys, is having the idea that if you do that, what happens is that your one thing gets all of you or the best parts of you. Let me give you an example. So for me, I'm in a season right now where I'm writing a book. As we're recording this, I have a goal to write a book in 21 days. How am I going to be able to get everything out of my head and onto paper and ready for publishing, or at least ready for the editors to look at it, and I'm going to go through all my rewrites and everything. Within 21 days, it will be a manuscript that's ready to go to publish. Ready to be published, right? Why? Because I will block off my one thing. In that particular case, it's going to be writing. Every single morning from 8 a.m. until 9:30, I'm writing. I've given myself 3 weeks of doing that consecutively, every single day, 5 days a week. I'm not going to do it on the weekends because it is something that I have lived. There's not a ton of research in it. It's going to be things that I've done. And so all I'm doing is pulling up things that I've documented and things that have worked for me. It's a book on business strategies and tips and things that have really worked for me. Well, at that particular point, all I need to do is sit down and focus on getting that out at one time. Well, if I don't block off my one thing, I'll never get it done. And then here's what will happen, guys, is that most often I will find myself behind the 8 ball, just like you. So when it gets to the place where you feel like you're rushing and you feel like you can't get anything done. I know people who have said, man, I've wanted to write a book for years. I've wanted to do this for years. And I often think to myself, well, why haven't you done it? It's not because they don't want to, it's because they haven't prioritized it. It's really that simple. And so where most people think of time management is maybe writing things down, or maybe keeping it on your day planner, or maybe keeping it electronically somewhere. No, time blocking is about a system. It's about a methodology. It's about an understanding of a system that will work for you in order for you to produce some really ridiculous results. So again, number two, I want you guys to understand this very clearly. Time block your one thing. After you've time blocked your time off. That's the reason why we put that at number one. Once you're rested, once you are rejuvenated and you're focused, it becomes really easy for you to time block your one thing. I wrote the manuscript, or I wrote the outline for this particular book in about 35 minutes. after a 2-hour conversation just prior to going on vacation. My mind was clear. I was having a conversation with a client friend of mine who literally sparked something in me that caused me, after we got off that call, to literally sit down and write the entire outline of this book that I have coming out. And I promise you, I'll be able to get that thing done quickly. Why? Because I was in a place of clarity. My mind was rested. And then on vacation, I began pulling some things apart before I even committed to sitting down and blocking off the time for my one thing, meaning the writing. So number one, we said in the last episode, we said that the time blocking should involve, first of all, your time, your personal time, your time off. Time to rejuvenate, replenish, and get yourself refocused, right? Number two, time blocking needs to involve your one thing. I'm going to go on to number three, but before we do that, I just want you to know that if you don't get rest, if you don't block off time to do that, you're not going to be any good to anybody. And so therefore, you won't be able to get to the place where you can time block your one thing, because your one thing will elude you, because you're going to be busy doing everything else. We're going to come back in the next episode and we're going to share with you number three. At the end of the day, we all need some help. If this episode has helped you on any level, here's what I want you to do. I want you to click like, share, subscribe to the channel, click on one of the videos, and I hope to see you again on the next Bootstrapping Business and Ministry.